The Belmont factory loomed over the desolate industrial district, a relic of a bygone era. Once a bustling center of manufacturing, it now stood abandoned, its windows shattered and walls covered in decades of grime. For urban explorers like Jake, Lisa, Mark, and Sarah, it was the perfect place to uncover hidden history and capture the eerie beauty of decay. Armed with flashlights and cameras, the group approached the rusted gates. Jake, the unofficial leader, pushed them open with a loud creak that echoed through the empty streets. "All right, team, let's see what secrets this place holds," he said, excitement in his voice. They stepped inside, their footsteps crunching on broken glass. The air was thick with the smell of rust and mold. As they moved deeper into the factory, the oppressive silence was only broken by the occasional drip of water from the leaky roof. Lisa, the historian of the group, began narrating what she knew about the factory. Belmont Factory was operational from the 1920s to the 1980s. It was shut down after a series of accidents and a devastating fire that killed several workers. It's said that their spirits still linger here. Mark, ever the skeptic, scoffed. "Ghost stories to keep kids away." Nothing more. Sarah shivered, not from the cold but from the eerie atmosphere. "Let's just stick together, okay?" The group ventured further, passing through rooms filled with rusted machinery and old tools. They stumbled upon a large hall where the assembly lines once hummed with activity. Now it was silent, save for the faint rustling of rodents. Jake noticed a staircase leading to the upper floors. "Let's check out the offices upstairs. Maybe we can find some old records or something." As they climbed the stairs, the air grew colder. At the top, they found a series of offices, each filled with decaying furniture and scattered papers. Lisa picked up a dusty ledger and began flipping through it. "These are old employee records. Looks like they kept detailed logs of everyone who worked here." Suddenly, Sarah let out a gasp. "Look at this." She held up a faded newspaper clipping. The headline read, "Tragic fire at Belmont Factory claims lives of 12 workers." Jake read aloud. Among the victims was Henry Thompson, a foreman known for his dedication to the factory. "Some say he still watches over this place, ensuring no one disturbs his domain." A chill ran down their spines. Mark tried to lighten the mood. "Well, let's hope Henry doesn't mind us poking around." As they continued exploring, strange things began to happen. Doors that were once open slammed shut on their own. Faint whispers echoed through the hallways. Shadows moved in the corners of their vision. Jake tried to rationalize it. "It's just the wind and our minds playing tricks on us." But the further they went, the more intense the phenomena became. In the basement, they found an old break room. The air was thick with the smell of burning, even though there was no fire. Lisa felt a cold hand on her shoulder. She spun around, but no one was there. "Did you guys feel that?" Mark's flashlight flickered and went out. "Damn batteries. Anyone got spares?" Before they could respond, a guttural voice echoed through the room. "Leave. Now." They froze, eyes wide with terror. Jake tried to keep calm. "Okay, let's head back. We have enough footage." As they retraced their steps, the whispers grew louder and the shadows seemed to close in on them. They reached the main hall, but the exit seemed further away than before. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness. It was a man, dressed in old-fashioned work clothes, his face twisted in anger and pain. "You dare disturb my rest." It was Henry Thompson, the vengeful spirit of the foreman. His eyes burned with an unholy fire as he advanced toward them. Jake tried to reason with him. "We didn't mean any harm. We're just exploring." But Henry's rage was unstoppable. "You must pay for the lives lost here. Feel their pain." The temperature plummeted, and the room filled with the screams of the damned. The group was paralyzed with fear as Henry's ghostly hands reached for them. In a desperate bid, Mark shouted, "Run!" They bolted for the exit, but the factory seemed to warp around them, corridors twisting and turning. It was as if the building itself was alive, trapping them in its malevolent embrace. They found themselves back in the assembly hall, the only familiar place in the labyrinthine nightmare. Henry appeared again, his form flickering with an otherworldly glow. Jake, summoning all his courage, faced the spirit. "We can't leave, can we? What do you want from us?" Henry's voice was a whisper and a roar at once. "A life for a life. Only then will the curse be lifted." Realizing what he meant, Sarah stepped forward. "If one of us stays, the rest can go." Henry nodded slowly. The others protested, but Sarah was resolute. "It's the only way. Go, and tell our story." With heavy hearts, Jake, Lisa, and Mark made their way to the exit, the factory no longer resisting their departure. They looked back one last time to see Sarah standing bravely, facing Henry. Outside, the sun was beginning to rise, casting a pale light over the decaying factory. The remaining trio stood in silence, mourning their lost friend. Jake spoke first, his voice trembling. "We'll make sure no one else ever comes here. We'll tell them what happened." Lisa nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Sarah's sacrifice won't be in vain." Mark, usually the skeptic, looked back at the factory, now eerily quiet. "There are some places that should be left alone." As they walked away, the factory loomed behind them, a silent sentinel to the horrors within. They knew they would never forget what happened at Belmont Factory, and neither would anyone who heard their story. The tale of the urban explorers and the vengeful spirit of Henry Thompson would become a legend, a warning to all who dared to venture into places where the past still lingered, restless and unforgiving.